Okay, so picture this. It's ancient Greece, and you're sick. Maybe it's a fever you just can't shake or an injury that won't heal. It's serious. But there are no doctors on every corner, no emergency rooms to rush to. What do you even do? Where do you go? Well, here's the thing that might surprise you. You didn't go to a hospital. Why? Because they just didn't exist. Not in the way we think of them anyway. So what was the alternative? And that, right there, is what we're going to dive into today. We are going to step back in time to explore the ancient art of healing. We're going inside a Greek Asklepios, which is kind of like the ancient ancestor of our modern hospital. All right, first things first, we have to get our heads into a completely different mindset about health. For the ancient Greeks, getting sick wasn't just a physical thing. It was seen as something deeper, a spiritual problem, a sign that you were out of balance with the divine. So instead of heading to a local clinic, your destination was something else entirely. It was a sacred healing sanctuary, and these were often these huge, sprawling places, all dedicated to Asklepios, who was the Greek god of medicine. And this brings us to our key term for today, an Asklepion. Think of it as this incredible blend. It was part temple, part spa, and part doctor's office, all rolled into one. It combined religion, ritual, and actual practical care. And the most famous of them all, the real rock star, was the one at a place called Epidaurus. So you might be wondering, why would somebody make what was often a really long, difficult journey to one of these places? What were they hoping to find? Let's try to look at it from their perspective, from the patient's point of view. This really gets to the heart of it. Remember, sickness wasn't just physical. It was a problem of both the body and the spirit. So going to an Asklepion, it was a chance to get right with the gods. I mean, can you just imagine the incredible hope that offered to people who were desperate and suffering? These were emotionally charged places where people genuinely believed they could meet the god. Okay, so you've made the journey. You've finally arrived at the sanctuary. Now what? Well, this is where we get to the main event, the most famous part of the entire healing process, the sacred sleep ritual. Now, you couldn't just walk in and take a nap. No way. It was a whole carefully planned process. First up was purification. Getting clean both physically and symbolically. Then you'd make offerings, gifts to the god Asklepios. Only then could you go into the abaton, this special sacred hall for sleeping. And that final crucial step, that was known as incubation. This idea of incubation was the absolute core of the experience. Patients would go to sleep in this holy place, 100% believing that the god Asklepios himself would visit them in a dream. And this wasn't just any old dream. It was seen as a direct message from the divine, a vision that could literally bring an instant cure or at least tell you exactly what you needed to do to get better. But this is where the story gets even more fascinating, because it wasn't all about just waiting for a magical dream. There was another side to the healing process at an Asklepion, a much more practical side. But first, let's just appreciate the power of these dreams for a second. At these sanctuaries, archaeologists have found all these stone inscriptions. They're basically like ancient patient testimonials. People would tell their stories, saying things just like this, fully believing the god healed them in their sleep. This is what made these places legendary. But as powerful as that belief was, it's not the whole story. Healing at an Asklepion involved a lot more than just a leap of faith. Turns out these sanctuaries were also kind of like ancient wellness centers. They'd put patients on regulated diets, have them take therapeutic baths, and give them exercise routines. There were also trained attendants who were this mix of priest and physician, offering practical advice. So it was this truly mixed system, blending deep faith with early hands-on medicine. So what's the big takeaway from all this? Why are these ancient healing centers so important for us to understand? What can they really tell us about the long, winding history of medicine? Well, this comparison kind of says it all. A modern hospital is focused on science and evidence to treat the physical body. An Asklepion, on the other hand, combined faith with science to treat both the body and the spirit. The whole goal was different. It wasn't just clinical treatment, it was holistic healing. So in the end, an Asklepion wasn't just a temple, and it wasn't just a hospital. It was this incredible hybrid, something totally unique and powerful, designed to care for the whole person. And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. In our modern, super specialized world of medicine, what can we learn from a culture that saw no real difference between healing the body and healing the spirit? It's definitely something to chew on,